Welcome to our Gemara Shir, Masechet Shabbos, Selsi Metshuva. Very difficult times for Klal Yisrael. The daf that we're on is not the easiest I've seen in my life. We will try and break it down to details, analyze it. It's also not as hard as it seems. We have to have a little bit of visual imagination. Be'ezras Hashem. So the story is as follows. Before we even continue, the main story here is actually quite easy to understand. The story is as follows. There is a halacha. There was a story, first of all, written in the Gemara about a Abaye whose shoe, more like his sandal, imagine yourself a sandal that has a strap, right? Connected on one side and on the other side, like more or less like today's sandals, okay? And the outside of his sandal, meaning the part that connects the strap to the exterior part of the foot, the one that's closer to the little toe, okay, that part tore. So then he got a psak from his Rav that this is muktzeh, right? This is what Rav Yosef told him. It is muktzeh, okay? Why is it muktzeh? Because it's torn. Torn is muktzeh, you can't use it. The question is as follows. Even if the sandal whose outside strap, this is the inside, that's outside, boom, the outside one torn, you could tie it. Why can't you retie it, make a knot, and then reuse it? Because it's really not aesthetic. We don't live in this world so much. We for sure wouldn't do it, right? But to tie the knot there and everyone can see it, nobody with the right mind would walk around like that. However, and here comes the big shaila, it's really just one shaila that's going to be with us and accompany us through the entire shir. If I have a sandal whose outside strap tore and I could retie it and switch the shoes with the feet, meaning back then you could somehow wear your left sandal or your right sandal on your left shoe, on your left foot, which means, let's say you take that sandal, which is retied, reknotted on the outside. If you wear it and it's your right one, if you switch it and you wear it on your left foot, the out will become in. Think about it. And if the knot is towards the inside part of your body, nobody sees it or it's less visible, and that's considered normal. Technically, it's a beautiful solution. The question is, do we call it halachically a solution or not? In other words, we're going to see now machloikes chachomim and Rabbi Yehuda, and we're going to paskin more like, seemingly at the beginning, more like Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to ask, do we or don't we say that because the sandal that tore on the outside, do we say that halachically we view it as changeable to the other foot, and then outside becomes inside? Yeah, from now on, I'm going to call it the switch trick or something like that, the swapping trick. Does the swapping trick work halachically or not? What do you mean halachically? Of course you can do it, technically. But does halacha recognize it as a kli because it can be used differently? Or does halacha say, no, mister, this is muktzeh. If you're going to fix it later, we'll talk then. As long as it's not fixed, right? Or if, we don't view it as a kli, it lost its shame of kli. Now, if you're going to do it later, we'll talk later. That's what Rashi says. First of all, it's not so common people do it, according to that opinion, that doesn't view it as a solution. And even if they do, it's a new kli. So let's see what the Gemara says. The Tanya. Sandal shenifseku shtei oznov. One line after the words de Rabbi Yehuda. A sandal that both oznov or shtei ters Yosef, that both fell apart. Oznav and ters Yosef, oznaim are the straps that are towards the back. I'm not sure they're even straps, they're placed to hold the sandal. Ters Yosef are the two places more in the front where you put the ratzua through them. So if both of them are finished, both of them are gone, or shenital kol hakaf shaloi, or the entire heel of the sandal is out, is gone, nital, it's not there anymore. Tor, regarding tumah v'tara, if you have a kli, and that kli already is dysfunctional, most of the kli is out, the straps are out, the heel is out. Tor, what does it mean tor? It's a non-kli. non-existing. It's like you have a big vessel and you have a big hole in the vessel, the size of a pomegranate. It's not called a kli anymore. Achas me'oznov or achas mitos Yosef. What would be if one of those nine? Oh, let's say you have one mitos Yosef, meaning let's say that, as we said, the oznov, let's say one strap, yeah, one one side of one strap popped out, yeah, tore. The other one still exists. The sandal is still connected, the strap to one side. The other side fell apart, tore. Or the majority of the heel is off, then it's still tome. Says Tanakama basically that if one side tore, it's still tome, meaning it's still called a kli. Why is it called a kli? Because you can fix it. Would you really fix the side that's outside? Yes. Everyone's going to see me. It's ugly. No worry. You'd be able to what? Switch sides, do the switching trick. The outside will become inside once the right foot becomes the left foot. All is good. And therefore, Toma means it maintains the Shem Tuma. It maintains the Shem Kli. And even if you didn't yet do it, it's just a temporary hazard. It's just a temporary problem. But really, it maintains the Shem Kli. That's what Tanakama believes. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, says Rabbi Yehuda, Nifsiko pnimis tome, achitzoino toho. Here comes Rabbi Yehuda with this famous sheet. He says, no. If the inner one is torn, it's still tome. The inner side of the strap, nobody sees. You can quickly retie. Nobody would be none the wiser. All is good. Therefore, it's still tome. It's still a kli. Achitzoino toho. What does mean achitzoino toho? Achitzoino toho means if the outside side of the strap is the one that popped away, toho, it's not a kli anymore because everyone's going to see you like that. You're not going to retie it. It's not nice to retie. Will you switch sides? Rabbi Yehuda is against this business of switching sides. Why? Because he says it's not going to happen, and even if it will happen, it will be a new kli. There will be a whole new story. It's not a temporary problem. The kli is nishka kli anymore. Done. If you'll fix it, there'll be a new matzav. V'omar ula. Yeah. V'omar ula v'itema Rabba bar bar Chana Omar b'Yochanan. Baruch atah Adonai. Yeah. Rabba bar bar Chana quoted Rabbi Yochanan as saying, "Kemachloikes linyan tumah, kach machloikes linyan Shabbos." The same machloikes there regarding tumah. Do we say that an outside strap that fell, is it considered as a kli, yes or no? Is it tome or not tome? Let's see it was touched by a sheretz. Is it tome or tor? Same machloikes would be for Shabbos. Who cares about Shabbos, whether it's clear or not? Muktzeh. Muktzeh. Rabbi Yehuda say muktzeh, and that's how we pass him like in the story. Well, Tanakama would say, no, it's not muktzeh. I can tie it. Is it okay to tie it on Shabbos? Yes, it's temporary tying, and I'll do it. And in Shabbos, it's still a good kli. Aval lo inyan chalitza. Regarding chalitza, it's a different story. What does it mean lo inyan chalitza? Lo inyan chalitza means as follows: that if a woman needs chalitza, she needs to take off the shoe from the man. And she has to take off dafka the right shoe from the right foot, or so we think right now. Regarding chalitza, everyone agrees and everyone has the same consensus. And obviously the question is, what do you mean everyone agrees? Who agrees to who? Yeah? Again, because we believe that switching sides, according to Tanakama, is a viable option. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not. And by chalitza, everyone agrees. What do you mean everyone agrees? Everyone became Republican or everyone became Democrat? Well, what do you mean everyone agreed to who? Who's the winner? And we have a question. Rabbi Yochanan, aliba deman. According to who did he say that everyone agrees to who? Who is the one who's bending and agreeing to the other one? And the Gemara will now detail, actually, as hard as the Gemara may seem, the Gemara is actually it's one of the Gemaras that I see is most breaking down. Yeah, Rashi is relatively short because the Gemara does a lot of explanation itself. Yeah, the Gemara is being nice to us. Thank you, Ravina and Ravashi. Ilema, if you want to tell me aliba de rabbonon, let's try and see nice and slow how would it be that now Rabbanon are agreeing with Rabbi Yehuda regarding chalitza? So there are three issues. They argue on tumah, they argue on Shabbos, and they all agree to Rabbi Yehuda when it comes to chalitza that everyone agrees that Rabbi Yehuda is right. How would that work out? The Gemara is going to say. The Gemara here is very, very explanatory. Midilinian tuma manahavi. Regarding tuma, that strap that tore on the outside is still considered a kli. Why is it a kli, my dear friend? Because we believe in that switching trick, and even here it's not aesthetic. In the other side, the other foot, it will be very nice and aesthetic, and therefore it's called a kli. Le'inyan Shabbos nami monohavi. Regarding Shabbos, it's also considered to be a kli. Very nice. Good. Chachamim are consistent. What do you mean it's a kli regarding Shabbos? It's not muktzeh. You can carry it wherever you want and keep it for Motzei Shabbos or tie it now. It's still a kli. It's not a muktzeh. Aval, here comes fun. Avaloi lechalitza, the lav monahu. If you're telling me Chachamim agree to Rabbi Yehuda in chalitza, we say, oh, maybe in the Havamina chalitza is a special din d'oraisa, the shoe. I told you once, I don't know if I told you, I have a friend who's a dayan, Baruch Hashem. We were in elementary school together. He became a dayan, he became choshev, Baruch Hashem. And what? Different directions. And what? And he goes to Beis Din, he sits in Beis Din, and he told me that they have the chalitza every once in a while, right? And the chalitza, you need a special shoe, because there's a lot of halachic definitions and requirements, what's called a good shoe for chalitza. So the Gemara says, maybe when it comes to chalitza, Chachamim agree to Rabbi Yehuda that here that switching trick is not going to work. Here they're machmir, they agree. Here, no, I say chalitza, you have to be machmir, and really you can't use that shoe that tore on the outside and you tied it. Frag the Gemara, I'm going to burst your bubble very quickly, says the Gemara. Ve'atnan, a Mishnah says otherwise. Look at what the Mishnah says in Yevamis. It says, Cholza shel small beyamin. Listen to this. A woman took the Yevama, she was choiletz. She took off the left shoe from his right foot. Chalitza kshera. Upa. So we see that chalitza has no, I mean, maybe the other requirements, thank you to my friend, but lemaise, chalitza, surprisingly, all you care about is that the right foot should be the one taken off from. But if it's a left foot on the left shoe on the right foot, it's okay. So we see that chalitza dafka were being mekel, right? And if chachamim believe that, let's switch sides. Let's say the guy had left shoe, I'll try to be more clear now, left shoe with an outside strap over there torn, right? And he strapped it, he retied it, right? It's okay. He can now move it to the right foot, and now it looks nice and elegant, because now the outside is good, and the inside is the one that's restitched in a clumsy way. So now it should be okay for chalitza, because hey, the Mishnah told us that chalitza is not so machmir. We see you can switch sides by chalitza. So give me one good reason why dafka by chalitza, chachamim would all of a sudden be more machmirim than usual. Does make sense. Does make sense, right? So let's try and figure out again, what did Rabbi Yochanan mean? Ve'ela. We're now trying to rule out another case. Ve'ela, another explanation. Aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe when Rabbi Yochanan said that one agrees to the other, means the other way around. He means Rabbi Yehuda agrees to Chachamim. And how would that work out? Everything will work out nicely. Let's now focus on Rabbi Yehuda's side. Maybe Rabbi Yochanan focused more on Rabbi Yehuda. Let's see how it's going to work out. Midil in Yantuma lav monahu. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who does not believe in the swapping trick, right? So regarding tumah, it's not a kli. And once the strap poofed away, the tumah poofed away as well. Yeah, popped out as well. Le'inyan Shabbos nami lav monahu. Regarding Shabbos, he's consistent. Rabbi Yehuda says, I don't believe in that switching story. And therefore, regarding Shabbos, it's not a kli. And what is it? Muktzeh. And by the way, that's a psak that Abaye received. That it's muktzeh, the shoe that had the strap torn on the outside. Maybe the agreement is dafka Rabbi Yehuda agreeing with Chachamim. Demanahu. Maybe all of a sudden, when it comes to chalitza, maybe Rabbi Yehuda is more lenient, And maybe by chalitza says, okay, it's a kli, it's a mana, it's still a good kli. Okay, maybe, but says the Gemara doesn't make sense. Why? Because the Gemara says, why should chalitza be different? Because we saw there's a kula about chalitza, because you can switch sides. No, says the Gemara. Wrong. You're getting it all wrong. Let me just explain before we continue. There are really two issues here. The main issue that follows us all the time is, is it bichlal called the kli? When you have a right shoe that, excuse my language, that stinks on its right foot because everyone sees the ugly knot, your shidduchim, your kids want to have shidduchim, they won't accept your kids to school, and you look like a weirdo, right? If you wear it with a strap outside, all retied and restitched, can I switch sides? Good question. Machlokes Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda, right? And the question is it the chalal called the kli? Or maybe it's nothing, maybe it's garbage. The other question is, do we say that the right foot and the right shoe regarding chalitza? Do we say the wrong shoe on the wrong foot? Is it considered as good enough or not? Right? That's the second issue, and therefore the Gemara says, why are you mixing it? What do you want from our lives regarding chalitza? Ema, 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Tadalba. Oh, אולי תגביר טיפה, as much as we're making in chalitza, and we say that you switch sides and the left shoe is okay for the right foot, okay, that's a nice kula, very nice. But that's only true. That's only true that for its original use, it's still called a kli. It's still called a shoe, which means if you have a nice, good balabatisha, good-looking shoe from the left, and you wore it on his right, gesundheit. But here, it's not a shoe at all. It's not a question of right or left. It's not, elections over here, who's a rightist, who's a leftist. The question is it bichlal called a kli? It's not mono at all. Rabbi Yehuda said that if the outside strap is torn, it's not a kli. Tor means what? How can a kli become tor without going to the mikveh? What's going on? It starts functioning as a kli. Alma lav monahu? Question mark. Again, let's repeat the question. It's a very, very, very simple question at the end of the day. Let me summarize it for you, the whole thing. What do you want from Pur Chalitza? What do you want from this Chalitza business? Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim have a question. What's a question? When you have you have a shoe, a sandal with an outside strap that's torn, but you could, in theory, change it, change shoes, change sides. Is it bichlal called shoe or not? Finished. So if you say it's a shoe, it should be good for chalitza, according to Chachamim. And if it's not a shoe, it's not good for chalitza. You see that switching sides, shkoyach. Of course, switching sides is okay with wear in chalitza, providing the shoe is a normal shoe. But if you think it's not a shoe, imagine yourself, excuse my the stupid humor, let's say instead of wearing a shoe, he's wearing a banana skin. A shoe, according to Rabbi Yehuda, with a torn side is banana skin. It's like he's wearing, I don't know, popsicle. He's not wearing a shoe, according to Rabbi Yehuda. So don't confuse with the right and the left. The right and left is okay to switch as long as it's called a shoe. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a shoe. So it shouldn't be good. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, it is a shoe and it should be good. So why are you telling me that there's an exception to the rule in Chalitza? There shouldn't be. Chalitza should have the same law exactly as Tumah and Shabbos. Therefore, we're making a dramatic change right now, and we say as follows. Really, Rabbi Yochanan is following Rabbi Yehuda, and he's explaining the statement according to Rabbi Yehuda. What does it mean? Now we're making a huge change. Ema, 1 line before the end. V'chen lechalitza. Not that chalitza is an exception. He's madgish, he's stressing and highlighting that according to Rabbi Yehuda, the same way Rabbi Yehuda holds that a shoe is not that kind of shoe, I don't have to say again, it's torn on the outside, so that funny shoe is not a shoe for Tumah, it's not a shoe for Shabbos, and so too, it's not called a shoe regarding Chalitza, as we say all the time. What's the Chiddush? Why would have I thought otherwise? In other words, excuse the line, we're towing the line. Excuse the pun. We are saying, no, it's all the same. We imagine yourself a chart, my friends, with 3 ticks. Shabbos, or 3 X's. Shabbos, not a shoe. Tumah, not a shoe. Chalitza, not a shoe. Why is chalitza chiddush? What did Rabbi Yochanan stress especially? Oh, big chiddush. For chalitza, it's also not called a shoe. Why would have thought otherwise, right? Says the Gemara, Kamash Malan, Dechia minan chotza shel small b'shel yamin chalitzot kshera. Because we saw a leniency, a kula in chalitza, that you can switch sides or right to left, and the Torah allows it for whichever reasons the psukim usin yavamis. I would have thought, if I have a kula there of changing right to left, maybe I'll jump on the bandwagon, and it would also allow that funny shoe. The shoe that has that funny restitching, very non-elegant on the outside. Maybe by chalitza, I can change it from left to right. It'll be a new, good, nice shoe for chalitza too. Because we found the cool already in chalitza. So we have a bit of a Pesach over, an opening. Says the Gemara, don't place your bets on it. No. Eicha, de la milse, monahu. That's only true, the kula of the Torah. When for its milse, its original purpose, it's a kli. Avalocha lemil salav monahu, very, very good. Which means don't bank on that kula. When the Torah said that for chalitza you can switch sides, that's when it's a good shoe. It's a good, functional, good-looking, normal shoe. Doesn't have to be the fancy Gucci, but I'm saying it's a normal shoe, right? And then you turn left to right. Beseder, gesund tehed. But to take a shoe which, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is considered as a piece of banana, it's considered as a piece of garnish. No. That far we don't go, but that's a chiddush. Get it? Now, Mimela, let's summarize. Lemaisa, Shalom, Yekufid Beis Amud Beis, top of the page. Yeah. Now, let's summarize. Why did we get to this whole business? Because let's not lose track. Let's keep our eyes on the ball. Because we said there was a story of Abaye. Abaye had his shoe torn, his sandal, whatever, in a chotza, in a safe place. Yeah, the thing, puffed away. And what happened? The outside Ritzua says his master of Yosef, hey, don't touch Abaye, hey, leave it freeze right there. I mean, you can keep walking, but leave the shoe there. It's muktzeh. Why is it muktzeh? Because I follow Rabbi Yehuda. Why do we follow Rabbi Yehuda? Because we see that Rabbi Yochanan, who's a halachic authority, spoke more in Rabbi Yehuda language than Chachamim. Because we see that when he spoke about Yavama, he said, you know what? According to Rabbi Yehuda, I would have thought X. No. Really, according to Rabbi Yehuda, why? It's not kosher, just like according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not kosher for tumah and for Shabbos, so too it's not kosher for chalitza. If Rabbi Yehuda wasn't halacha, why do you have to go into his opinion so much, right? Did you ever see two normal Talmidei Chachamim nowadays, la halacha? I'm asking you a question now. Did you ever hear two poskim, two rabbanim, normal rabbanim, ask mamish pilpul la halacha lemaisa in shitas b'shamai? Never. Maybe the mefalpel b'smedrash, when they learn it in Ponevish Be'iyun. But halacha l'maisi, excuse my language, who cares about Bishamai? I'm not saying the Gemara says in Brochas, not me. Yeah, in other words, we don't really care halacha with details about Bishamai, right? Why? Because halacha. So if Rabbi Yochanan is philosophizing and adding in detail according to Rabbi Yehuda, mashma Rabbi Yochanan believes halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. If halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, means that shoe is muktzeh, because you don't believe in that optional change of foot. Mimela halacha is so far in the sugya, halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, and that's why Abai had to leave his shoe there and just walk barefoot until he found another pair. That's all. Frag the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan hachi? Is that so? Are you sure that Rabbi Yochanan really believes in Rabbi Yehuda? He really believes that Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis, the second line from the top. Did Rabbi Yochanan really say it? That what? Did Rabbi Yochanan really pass like Rabbi Yehuda that the shoe that tore on the outside is kaput, is nishkashu, is garnished? I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove you wrong from a different place. Rabbi Yochanan has a rule, which we all know. Halacha kistam mishnah. What's halacha kistam mishnah? When you have a mishnah that's anonymous, a mishnah that doesn't mention any name, like many mishnahs, just the mishnah, as that's the normal narrator of the Mishnah. Halacha is like that, right? Let's say we know there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim, and there is a Mishnah that just speaks as if nobody said it, as if that's a common opinion. Halacha is like that Mishnah. Makes sense. Why did Rabbi Yehuda Nossi style the Mishnah that way? Why did he phrase that way? To show that's a normal voice, that's a normal narrating of the Mishnah, like that opinion. So halacha is like that opinion. That's why it's mentioned anonymously to show that's a consensus, that's a normal opinion. Very nice. Vitnan. So let's keep that in the back burner. That whatever is written in the Stam Mishnah anonymously, that's the halacha. Now, that's only half the first half of the proof. Vitnan. Oh, before we continue, I'll give a small introduction, which I don't think will be a big chiddush. I just want to give the introduction, to keep on the safe side. We all know that there are many types of tumas. There are mainly two types of tumas. When it comes to sandals, there are two types of tumas. A sandal, last time I checked, is something you walk on, right? Yeah, you walk on the sandal, on the shoe. So now, anything you walk on, or you lie on, or you sit on, or you crouch on, whatever, they have the special halacha of tumas, mishkav, moshav, or medres. Tumas medres means, let's say you have a zav or a zava. People have the emission of tuma from their body. If they wear a shoe, the shoe has a special tuma that it remains avatuma. If the zav touches something, the zav is avatuma, and he touched tomato, whatever. So the tomato becomes what? Rishon. He touched it. But if he walks on something that he's meant to walk on, that's meant for walking, then it remains avatuma. It doesn't go down one level. And if he wears two of them, they're all avatuma. The shoe, the sock, they're all avatuma. Okay, we'll just remember that. Fine. Vitnam. Sandal shenifsako achas me'oznov. Sounds familiar. You have a sandal worn by a zav, let's say, and one of the oznaim, one of the sides of the straps, there's here, there's there, in interior, exterior, one of them, nifsika, tore away, the and he fixed it. Now, by the way, I want to tell you, it doesn't have to be tikna. There's a reason why we say tikna, but it's not really it's not a prerequisite. Even if he wasn't metakin it, tome medres, it still remains tome medres. As long as only one side is out, although the other, no, excuse me, not although, because one side of the strap is still there, right? It's tome medres. It maintains the tumah. Okay. I will read the parentheses. The round brackets here are important for a change. Nifseka shnia vetikna o toho. I'm pausing. What about the other one? Look at that. Yeah. The other side is nifsak. The other side of the strap. What happens then? The whole thing is out. Both sides of the strap are out. The strap is out. Okay. That's vetikna, and you fixed it. Toho. Why is it toho? Because both sides already, what about them? Out. Even though you fixed it, thank you very much, you fixed it. Ponim chodoshet bolakan, the Gemara will say later. It's a new kli. Strap number one or side number one out. Side number two, completely out. That's it. The whole thing is destroyed. Even if you fix the second one, it's still tohor. Let me tell you something even more important. Even if you fix the right one, and then the other one tore, and you fix the other one, it's still tohor, as we're going to prove later. But we'll leave that for now. Don't mix you up. Bekitzer, if the whole thing is torn, both sides, and then you fixed it, once both are out, the whole thing is destroyed, complete destruction. Now you fixed it, shkoich, it's a new kli. But the old tumah, if it was touched by zav before, is tohor. And now the Mishnah is going to say something very radical, which I'm sure your eyebrows are gonna, go up. Tor milatam medras, aval tom maga medras. What does that mean? Once that shoe, once it's torn, it's not called a shoe anymore, right? Fine. If it's not a shoe, it's not tom medras, because tumas medras only applies to things that you meant to walk on. There is a Gemara in Shabbos, which we saw before. What happens if you have a person who's walking on something he's not meant to walk on? Let's say you're doing a painting job and you're barefoot and you're walking on nylon bags, yeah? And you tie them to your feet. Even if you're Chalila Yuzav, they don't get Tumas Medras. Tumas Medras is only for something that really is meant to be worn as a shoe. So now listen what happened. Let's say the shoe, one side out, the other side out. It's not a shoe anymore. Are you going to throw it in the garbage? No. You'll use it for something else. So it's not, you'll use it to put your flower pot there. I don't know what. People back then wouldn't throw everything like we do today. And therefore what? Listen to this. The Tumas Medres already, poofed away. But the Kli כאילו touched itself. Meaning, when it was Tome Medres, yeah, it transfers the tumah from itself to itself. It was a shoe. Now it started being a shoe, right? When it was a shoe, it was Tome from the Zav, right? Now the shoe stopped being a shoe and it started being a flower pot holder. The same thing. So it's Ki'ilu that shoe that was Avatuma touched itself. Now it became Rishon Latuma. Unbelievable. Okay? But Lamaisa, that's a side point. The main point we see here is what? That if one side is out, what is it considered? It's still Tome. Only when both sides are out, then it's Toho. Let's just remember that from the whole story. And now we're going to prove against Rabbi Yochanan. Why? My love must be, says the Gemara, lo ishna pnimis v'lo ishna chitzoino. Oh, when we say that if one side is torn and the other side is still attached, it's considered as tome. That is also true if the outside tore. The outside is torn according to Rabbi, it's still tome? No way. And you, Rabbi Yochanan, told me that's halachic stam Mishnah. Here, the stam Mishnah seems to be supporting Chachamim. If they seem to be supporting that the outside strap is out, it's still considered tome because I can do the switching trick. So Rabbi Yochanan seems to contradict himself. Dr. Gemara, no. Loi, pnimis davka. No, not true. You know when it's true. You know when it's true to say that it retains the tumah. It retains the tumah when the inner one is the one that tore. The Rabbi Yehuda agrees it's still a good shoe. Why? Because why is it a good shoe? Inside, nobody sees it. I don't have to switch. I'm wearing my right shoe on my right foot. The inside tore. Nobody will know. Shh, don't tell anybody. I'll just quickly do a kesher to the inside. The inside nobody sees, and I don't have to switch. Then, of course, Rabbi believes it's still tome. It's still a shoe. Very good. Zog the Gemara, wait a second. But if so, I will chitzoin my toho. You're trying to tell me you want to tell me this Mishnah is a Rabbi Yehuda Mishnah, and if the outside one torn, it's toho. Like what? Like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says once outside torn, there's no remedy. It's not remediable anymore. Yeah, it's not revocable. If so, and that's why it's toho. If so, adetani nifseka shniya v'tikna tor min medres aval tor min maga midras. If you're looking to tell me a tor case, a good case, why did you have to go to all this weird case that the second one also torn, right? Both sides tore, 1, 2. Then it's tohor, tor min medras aval tor min maga midras. And it stopped being a shoe and it starts being a regular kli. Why do you have to come to this weird case? You can make it a differentiation within the same case. Very good. In other words, if you really think that this is a Rabbi Yehuda Mishnah, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, yeah, it's very pashut. When the outside one torn, kaput, Gamarnu, no way it's going to be a shoe anymore. I'll use it as a flower pot. I'll use it as a wedge for my door. I'll use it as a paper holder. I'll just wash it very well. But the inner one, and the inner one tore, then it's still called a good kli. That should be the chiluk. Why are you going to all these weird cases of one torn and then the other one also? Well, no, why? Tell me, even if one of them only tore one side, there's a difference between the inner and the outer, because that's Rabbi Yehuda's language. And you claim all the time that you're such a big fan of Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Yitzchak ben Yosef, no. He's making a big ukimta over here. Tehe mishnasenu בסנדל שיש לו 4 אוזניים ו4 תרסיוסים, שלא לשבור דבריו של רבי יוחנן. Oh, he's making an ukimta. Excuse me, I'm going to start from the end. לא לשבור דבריו של רבי יוחנן. In order to not break the words of Rabbi Yochanan, in order not to create a contradiction in Rabbi Yochanan, where one time he was a keen supporter of Rabbi Yehuda, and he believes that if the shoe tore on the outside, kaput, it's not a shoe. And here the Mishnah seems to be saying differently. In order to do that, I'll make an ukimta. We don't like ukimtas, but we have to use them sometimes. What's ukimta? Very easy. We're talking here, like today, right? Today, some sandals, even the front strap, sometimes you have one, sometimes you have two, like by women or children, right? You have two straps for aesthetics or for strength, right? That's a style, right? You have two straps in the front. That's the case over here. 2 plus 2 is 4, which means you know why we spoke about that both of them tore? Up until now, what did we think? There's one strap, right? And we said one tore, the other on the inner one also tore. It's all out. We say, no, we're talking here about two straps, and both of them, the outside torn. Really, Rabbi Yehuda is the one who differentiates between outside and inside. And he says, if the inside torn, it's still good. You can retie it. The outside, he says, listen, there are two straps. If one strap tore on the outside, you can still wear it. People will see that it's funny. That's not so bad because you still have one nice strap. But when you have both straps torn on the outside, they're still attached. Imagine yourself two straps attached on the inside and detached on the outside. At that point, says Rabbi Yehuda, I'm giving up. Then, of course, it's tohor. Why? Because both sides on the outside are disgusting. Because you have two knots on the outside, nobody will wear it. And Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says, hey, don't tell me about your switching business. This is not politics over here. You can't switch sides every second. No, no, no. You'll wear the right one on the right and the left on the left, and you can't change it, and therefore it's all consistently according to Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yochanan was the Rabbi Yehuda holder all the way right from the beginning till the end. Let's quickly finish that topic. It's actually from now it's very very easy. Says the Gemara, Kyoto Rabbi Omer Rav Chanan Bar Abba Omer Rav Alocha Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, very good. We say alocha is like Rabbi Yehuda, as we said all along. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Ein alocha Rabbi Yehuda. Did you hear that? This opinion holds, yeah. Rabin, quoting Rav Chanan Bar Abba, says that according to Rabbi Yochanan, ein halachic Rabbi Yehuda. Frank Digmar, what? What have we been doing since 9:15? Umi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Nachi. Rabbi Yochanan says that, you tell me Rabbi Yochanan says that halach is not like Rabbi Yehuda, but with the B'taratz Rabbi Yochanan libed Rabbi Yehuda, in the previous sugya of Yevomis of the chalitza, Rabbi Yochanan worked hard to dafka talk according to Rabbi Yehuda. And it's yes, Shema Min Rabbi Yehuda Svirale. So we clearly see that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda. You telling me he's not? Answers the Gemara, Nish, no problem. Amoiroi ninu valibed Rabbi Yochanan. There's a machloikis amoiroi. What did Rabbi Yochanan say? That actually happens quite a lot in Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan was the master of Eretz Yisrael. All Israelis and Amoraim, they all followed him. They all listened to his shurim. And there were sometimes, misunderstandings. And sometimes different people quote Rabbi Yochanan differently. And in Achnami, there's a machlokes. Yeah, there's a machlokes over here because we see over here Rabba Bar Bar Chana says this, and Rabin says that machlokes of Rabbi Yochanan holds a Rabbi Yehuda, doesn't hold a Rabbi Yehuda. I would stop here, and I promise you the next one is much easier. Tomorrow there's shir. Sunday night you're going to be here because I want to be here. If not, but let me know. I don't want to come to an empty room. Sunday night. I know it's closer to the holiday of Sukkot. And I'm also building a shack outside my house. Yeah, Sunday night, you think you'll be here? You think you'll be here? Bigadol? Tati Yepo? Very good. Sunday, see you tomorrow, and Sunday, Bezos Hashem. And you know what's really interesting? The next Mishnah talks about Shabbos and Yom Kippur. Siman Mishamayim. So, see you tomorrow, Bezos Hashem. Atzlocha V'rocha, thank you very, very much to everybody on YouTube and everyone, the Heilig Torah anytime. Thank you so much. Koyach.